Hello.
Hi. Good to see you again.
Hi. Hello. I'm back. I don't know if you got my email this morning or not.
I didn't reply because
Yes.
you haven't got time to read it. To read-
Can you believe they then changed the time again? And I actually then I was getting phone calls I was on a client call and I was getting phone calls from my daughter to say, Mummy, they finished an hour early. Can you come and get me?
Oh no!
And so I had to then I did finish the call. It was okay, but ah, just not what we need. And then, so I should say this to warn you both, and I'll remind anybody who comes in. My internet has completely dropped out, so I'm hotspotting off my phone right now. So if my internet, if I disappear, I will come back. So don't go anywhere because
Okay.
I will be back. It's just that it just means my phone signal has dropped out for a moment, but I will be back. So yeah, it's all happening.
I'm sorry. I'm going
You
to
sort of think,
be
you sort of think,
sorry.
is
Dear,
this
if you've got
times
the
are sent to
Netflix on.
test?
Sorry, I was just going to say I have to make breakfast for my child
Oh,
because
good. Okay.
apparently they don't know how to work a toaster oven. So I'll be doing that while we're on our
So
call.
unreasonable. So unreasonable. Okay, let's get started. So I've actually had quite a bunch of advanced questions, so I'm going to dive straight in. And then if anybody's got any follow-up questions, who's here live, of course, you are always welcome to answer them. And anybody who's tuning in on the replay, if you want to skip forward to any points, just a reminder that in the notes to the video, I put timestamps, so you can always skip to different moments if you feel like certain things are more relevant to you than others. So let's get going. So the first question I'm going to deal with is from Samantha. It's a fairly quick one to deal with, so we'll cover this off quickly. Instagram keeps offering me the option to reorder my grid. Should I do this? I have finally got this option. I updated my app twice in one day last week because I was so fed up of not having this option. And the first time, nowhere to be seen. Second time, suddenly appeared. So there you go. So if you haven't got this option, update your app twice in one day. It might appear, it might not. I don't know. So yeah, do it now, Sandy. Yeah, exactly. Yes, I actually really like this as a feature. Obviously, it's not going, don't get me wrong, it's not going to like change the world. But the reason why I like it is because currently we have this function of pinning 3 posts to the very top of our grid. But then after that, it's just the most recent posts. But the most recent posts might not always best represent you. So if somebody new were to land on your grid and then they find you in a real kind of like maybe like a real promotion heavy period, or they find you in a posting lull because you've just got too much else going on, they may then bounce off your account without following because they can't really understand how your account is relevant to them and why they should follow it. So what this reordering does is it enables you to manipulate the first few posts. I don't want you to go through your whole grid and reorder everything. There is no point. But it allows you to manipulate your grid so that the posts that people first see when they first land on your account and have to make a decision about whether or not to follow you are posts that are going to Sandy, I'll come back. I'll come to your question in a moment. Are posts that are going to really represent you best. They're going to kind of like capture what is it that you post about? What is it that people can expect from you? So my pin post, so I'm just going to use my account as an example for so that if you want to look at my account as I'm talking it through, you can do. So my pin posts currently are my podcast, the most recent podcast episode, because that is something that I want to promote. It's a how to work with me post, because that is also something that I want people to know straight away, is that I do one-to-one, and I also have a membership. So I've got that post there straight away. And then also my third pinned post is the meme that I created about using AI in your writing or not using AI in your writing, which for me went viral. So that has really strong social proof and is something quite useful as well. So it's kind of like very resonant. So I'm basically saying with that pin post, this is who I am. This is my opinion. And if you vibe with that, if you feel, oh yeah, I like this, then maybe you'll like the rest of my account. But then if you then scroll down, because I've already slightly reordered my grid, what I've done with that is I've used that reordering option to have my most recent posts. A couple of posts are about the most recent episode of the podcast. I want to keep those at the top for now because some people still haven't listened to those episodes. So they're going to stay near the top somewhere. I also have surfaced things that are useful. So the funnel series that I did, the Instagram Essentials series that I did, you'll see in my top few posts, I've reordered some. So I've moved them up the grid so they are more visible. So the ones where I was talking about what is a funnel, what is your top, what is your middle, what is your bottom of your funnel. So it's all there. And also I have resurfaced a client case study with some really strong results on it. So that would have been pushed further down the grid it's quite a recent post still, but it would have been further down the grid had I not surfaced that. And a couple of posts in the mix there that are resonant. So I've got one, I think, that's about things I do, that's things I didn't know. Was it that one to do with writing that I now couldn't write without? Something like that. That one, which again has quite a lot of social proof on it. So lots of likes, shares, etc. Because we are herd animals, right? If we see that somebody else likes something, we're more likely to pay attention to it. And also another resonant post on there was me talking about, I can't remember, it was on one of these calls, it was Kat asking, how do you maintain momentum? And I use that as a storytelling post, sort of explaining how I maintain momentum. So I've got that there as well. So there is a real mix of content, I hope, that gives a real flavor of what I can offer, how I can be useful, what my kind of vibe and feel is. And some of those posts shouldn't be that close to the top of the grid. They should have been pushed further down already. So that is how I have used this feature. So I would have a look at your own content and see if there is stuff that you want to surface closer to the top of your grid, that you sort of think any new follower might respond well to if they see that on your grid. And this is where having text on your posts becomes a real strength, because people looking at your grid as a whole can straight away see what might be relevant to them. And that's not to say every single post has to have text on it, but having some posts with text on it just, again, is another way for you to reinforce to people, this is what I talk about, this is why I might be relevant to you. Okay, so how do you do it? So once you've updated your app, and Sandy, I don't understand why you can't update your app in your app store, so it should be there as an option. Maybe have you recently updated it and it's not there, not giving you an update option?
I might be at the most updated version for myself.
Oh, maybe you've already got it. Yeah. So how do you do it? Once you've updated your app, you go to your grid. And if you find a post and you think, I want to move this, the way to sort of see if you can is to long press on the post you want to move. So just hold your finger down on it, and then a little pop-up menu will come up. And if you have the feature, that's the pop-up menu. And if you have the feature, it will say with a little grid icon, reorder grid. If you haven't got that, it just means it hasn't been rolled out to your account yet. But if you have got it, you have got it. Great, Sandy. Okay. So you can tap on there. It will then open your grid in a new window. And it's kind of like the rest of your posts will be faded out slightly. And the one you've said you want to move, you can then move around. But I'm pretty sure you can also move other posts around. You don't have to come back out and go back in. You can just move them around. Importantly, there is an undo button at the top in the top right-hand corner, but I actually don't know. I haven't checked this. If you hit undo, I don't know if that undoes everything you've just done or just the last action. So just be careful with that. I'm not 100% sure. And when you're happy with it, when you're happy with the way it looks, all you need to do is then tap on the back arrow in the top left-hand corner, and it then takes you back to your grid, and your new grid layout is now saved. I like this feature. Like I said, it's not going to set the world on fire, but it's quite a nice feature, especially if you're somebody who hasn't got time to post very often, and you know you have some older posts that have done well, that have generated lots of engagement, or maybe even that have motivated people to follow your account. If you have some posts where you've had a bigger number than usual of new followers off the back of that post, that could be something that you want to put to the top of your grid, because then anybody who lands on your grid for the first time will see that post, and you already have data that suggests that that post motivates people to follow your account. So that's the long answer to a short question, but I think that covers everything for that. If anybody has any follow-up questions, then you can ask them, or if you're watching on replay, you can drop them into the comments and I will come back to you. Okay, so next up, Dufflin, who's here live on the call for the first time, I think. Hi, Dufflin. Nice to see you again, because we have met once before, but nice to see you again. So, Dufflin, I'm going to answer your main question first, and then because I have other people's questions, I'm going to do the same with them. I'll answer one of their questions and then come back. Hopefully I'll have time to come back round to answer your other questions as well. So Dufflin said that she published her first memoir on the 4th of June as audiobook and ebook, but she is struggling with making it clear to her audience that this is audio is only available in audio and ebook. You had some ARCs printed for your launch party and have lots of promo shots with the physical book, but people can't buy it. And you've had a few people say they went to a bookstore or went online and are waiting for the paperback to come out. But your strategy with your publisher is to sell 3,000 copies of the audiobook and then try to get the attention of a larger publisher or selling film rights. That's with Rise Books, or a hybrid publisher with distribution through Simon & Schuster. I've got an episode coming up where I've interviewed somebody about, I know it's this week, about hybrid publishing. I think it's a really fascinating way to do it. I'm very interested in it. So since, okay, so you talked about some of the things that you've already posted. But your main question is, do you need to totally stop posting photographs of the ARC? And what else can you post to get creative about marketing an audio and an ebook? Okay. So Dufflin, if your audience is telling you they are confused, so they are saying to you, where can I buy the paperback? So I would say, yes, stop posting the physical book, which is annoying. And I realize that, but I would stop posting it. You could do some fanfare around this. You could use this as part of the storytelling around the format that the book is available in. I don't know how many copies of the ARC you have. You could potentially do a giveaway, like exclusive giveaway, something like that, because you don't actually have paperbacks currently. You only have ebook and audiobook, and this is the last time you're going to be mentioning the physical copies. So you could actually do a little bit of fanfare around having these, you could say, limited based copies of a physical book, and anybody who wants it will have to either enter the giveaway or only download the ebook or audiobook. So that's the first thing I would say. So second thing I would say is about marketing or promoting an ebook and audiobook. It is difficult to make this look like aesthetically pleasing, and there isn't really anything you can do about that. It is what it is. So and I think it's better to be clear than to be pretty, so that people know, because what you don't want is people hunting around for the paperback, not being able to find it, and then disappearing, when actually they might have been quite happy to, I'll just get it in audiobook then, that's fine, or I'll just get it in ebook then, that's fine. So I think it's better to be clear than to be pretty. So that's the one thing I would say. And I can see that Sandy has just dropped into the chat a couple of suggestions of creatives that you might use. So yeah, of you listening to the book with text overlay of a few lines. Yeah, I like that idea as a creative. And definitely you can get on Canva like mock-ups of Kindles of e-readers where you can drop in the front cover into the frames. So you could also mock some, and you can put pictures behind it. You can do all sorts of things. But that's available on Canva, and I'm sure on any other, like Adobe or whatever you are using. So that's what I would do as well. But the other thing I would say is that anything that looks like a promotion for the book, like an advert for the book, should actually only be around 25% of your posts anyway. And then the rest of your content mix is what does the work of turning people from strangers who are just going to bounce off, who don't really understand why your book is relevant to them and don't understand why they should trust you and therefore, pay for something that's by you. The rest of your content needs to do this job where you are warming them up and showing them what you're about and showing them who you are. And you kind of give them something, but I don't mean like it. Sometimes I think we have a really narrow definition of what this usefulness idea is, and we think it has to be advice or tips, but it doesn't have to be. It can be resonance. It can be you telling a story about a personal story that they have their own version of, or it can be you sharing a story of what it's been like to create this book. So sort of like behind the scenes, including actually why it's not available as a physical book and how does that feel, the fact that it's not available as a physical book, and the ultimate ambition is for it to be available as a physical book. So you can post about all this kind of background stuff, the story behind the story, and also personal stories. When you think what your book is about, personal stories that help your audience understand you and why you've created this book, why you've written this book, and what are they going to get from it. Because if you're telling personal stories that evoke a response from them, then they're much more likely to trust that your book can also do that. So what I'm going to do, Dufflin, because it's obviously it's difficult in this format to get into the nitty-gritty of exactly what that is because of just time and the group format. But I have in the membership several resources to do with what a funnel looks like, so what to put in each part of the funnel. And I also have some older resources about what I call micro stories and how to come up with the stories that are only you can tell that your audience are going to relate to. So what I'll do when I send out the video, in the notes to the video, I will put the links to those resources. And some of them are kind of like just explanations, but some of them are like literally like a step-by-step process. Do this, do this, do this, do this. And then at the end of it, you can create a post, or more than one post, actually. So that, I think, is probably what I would say about that. Along with, I'm just looking down here. So Kathleen also said, yeah, filming you reading a short extract gives a flavour of the book, also allows people to hear you and hear your voice. Sometimes that adds an extra layer of intimacy to the content. And a story around the audio narrator, especially if it's you. Yeah, great, Cynthia. I like this one. Why is it so important for you to narrate it? Or if it's not you, how did you go about choosing the person who narrated it? What was it about their voice that made them the right person to narrate it? What was the mood, the vibe, the feel that you were looking to try to create? So it's a lot of storytelling, and the storytelling then brings potential readers in a bit closer, that then makes it much more likely that they are going to buy this book from somebody who they probably never heard of. I mean, that's the raw truth of it. So it's about getting them to trust you and getting them to understand why your book is the book that they should read next. How does that sound, Dufflin?
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you all.
That's all right. And I will, like I said, I will put the notes to the resources that will just give you if I've just given you like the bones, you can then sort of flesh things out using those resources. Yeah, Sandhya's put some extra stuff in the chat, which I totally agree with. So I'm actually I'm going to read it, Sandia, because people on the recording can't see the chat. I've just realised. So Sandia says, to start with the mood or vibe, of what you were looking for in a narrator. And then if it's you can use the line, it's me, hi. Oh my God, yeah. The audio, it's me, hi. Yeah.
That's genius. Thank you.
The Taylor Swift lyric. Yeah. Okay, cool. Next question. And then Dufflin, hopefully I'll have time and come back around to your other questions as well. Kathleen, I was talking about the Meet Cute Festival to somebody else yesterday. It was when you were there, did you see audiobook cards hanging from a tree?
No, but there was a lot there, and I was involved with quite a few different events and things, so I didn't get to look around it properly. But I'm sure other people saw them and enjoyed them.
Yeah. Meet Cute Festival. Where is it? It's a festival here. It's a romance festival. I think they only started last year. Possibly is this the second year, Kathleen?
Third year. This is the
Third
third
year.
year, and it's at Elstree Studios, so kind of just outside London. And yeah, it's a really nice festival. It's growing all the time, and yeah, nice. It was nice weather and it was outside, so that was all good. So yes,
Yeah, lovely.
yes, and my plan in the last create along was to do a quick reel, and then I got scuppered because of my fat fingers. You can only do, I wanted it to be 1 second per shot, so it's like not dragging on. Yeah, but the real format seems to be either a millisecond or 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And I spent so long trying to get them the right size, and then a couple of them like made so small that they were gone and you couldn't even register them, and then I just couldn't ease them out to the right size.
So fiddly and frustrating. Like, yes. So, okay, an expensive solution, if you've got an Apple phone, might be to get yourself an Apple Pencil. But that's an expensive solution, so I don't necessarily recommend that. But second thing is, they are it doesn't help you right now, but they are rolling out a desktop, laptop, web version of edits. So we will soon be able to edit reels on the laptop on a bigger screen, which would be the dream, right? So we're not all scrunching down. Yeah. Okay, so tips though, how to do this. It is not a tool. It is not currently possible. I hope they will add it at some point to specify all of these images. I want them at 1 second long. Currently, that's not possible. Other apps do offer that. So it is a function that can be developed, but it's not currently available in the Meta tools. I'm really hoping they do add it because it would be very useful. I agree with you. So the best way around this that I have found, because I've been in a similar situation, is, and this is a bit difficult to describe actually, but I'll do my best. When you have all of your photos in the down at the bottom, in that long sort of bar that goes across the bottom, if you stretch that bar out, if you put 2 fingers on it and just pull it out, it lets you zoom in. Does that make sense? So you've then got a bigger, it's still 5 seconds long or whatever the standard one is that it loads it up as, 3 seconds, whatever it is that it loads it up at. But you then have a bigger bar to represent the 3 seconds, that you just have a little bit more space to move the yellow border.
Yeah,
that is, I know that's not ideal because like trying to talk you through it rather than showing you is really tricky. But yeah, you can zoom it. You can literally, you can stretch out that bottom bit so you can zoom into it so that each frame looks bigger, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it is fiddly and it is frustrating, and especially if your phone's just having a glitchy moment. Sometimes like I've cracked my screen, so sometimes it just doesn't seem as responsive as it was when my phone screen was not cracked. I need to get it fixed, but that's for another time. Not now. I can't deal with it now. Because I'll have to like give it to someone for a day. Okay, so try that out. Yeah, that's what I would say, is try that first, and then just keep your fingers crossed that sooner rather than later they roll out this desktop version, because that would be the ideal. I'm going to just skip on to Sandhya's question, then I'm going to loop back around, Kathleen, because I know you've given me a couple more questions as well. Okay, Sandhya, you were asking me a question about metrics and how to interpret your metrics. Yes, Sandhya has actually put long press on the yellow bar and then it expands the timeline. That's a much better way of saying it. Thank you, Sandhya. So here's Sandhya's question. If I only have 229 followers, how does that translate when 65% of my views are from my followers? That's nearly 3,500 views over the last month by my followers, or over 600 in the last week. What does that mean? So Sandhya sent me some screenshots, which I will put, if Sandhya is happy for me to do so, I will put this in the notes so people can see what she's talking about. So basically it's cumulative. So it's like if all 229 of your followers see post one, so that's 229 views. But also, I'm not sure that swipes on a carousel don't count as more than one view. I'm not 100% sure about this, because they changed the way they count views. So I know that it no longer counts when it's in somebody's explore page. It no longer counts unless they tap into it. It used to count. So I don't know if this is one of those funny, fiddly, different things count, different things don't. Because sometimes I will see that, like, on a single post, like 10 accounts have seen my post, but I can see the 22 views. And I'm like, well, how has that happened? And the only thing I can think is that they've swiped through a carousel. I'm like, that makes no sense. That's the only thing I can think that's happened. Because especially if you have a carousel post, so it gets served to your audience with the front slide the first time, they don't interact with it for whatever reason, the algorithm might then resurface it to those people a second time with the second slide. So that would also count as two separate views. So they're not unique views. You know, like when you look at your web page and you can see traffic and you can see unique users versus number of views. Number of views is not unique views. They're not unique accounts. So over a month or a week, it's cumulative. So like you could have like a core group of your community who see every single one of your posts. And so if they, if you posted 5 times in a week and you've got 50 accounts, that's 250 views. Did I even say that correctly? I feel like I said that incorrectly, but I'm sure you can all work out what I meant, hopefully. Let me know if you can't. So that's what that metric means, basically. Does that help? Does that make more sense? No. So, okay.
I guess what I'm trying, I get what you're saying about the second surfacing, because that happens to me too. Like sometimes I'll see someone's post again, it's the second slide. And I do a lot of carousel posts just because reels are fiddly to work with sometimes. But I guess what I'm trying to figure out is, like, if I have like 5,000 views and 65% of that is from my followers, again, it could be that they're looking at the carousel. So it's not unique. It's like what you're saying. So, and they could go back into it again, or if it's a reel, how long, I think there's a thing that they have to be in the reel for 3 seconds before it counts as a view or something like that, right? So
I don't think it's quite that long. The 3-second thing is for the algorithm to push it out to see it, as of value. As a view, I'm pretty sure you just got to pause on it for like a second and then you might pass. Like I think to count as a view is a little bit shorter.
Yeah. Okay. It's just, it's it's great. I see my 5,000 views, whatever, going up every time I go into my main page. Yeah.
This is why it's important to take a more bird's eye view over your metrics rather than looking at individual posts. Because if you are looking, so the way to work it is look at your bird's eye metrics first. And if they are going in the direction you want them to, your views are going up, you're like, good, right, this is good. I know I'm doing something that is working, that is making sure that more and more people are seeing my posts. Now, that could be your existing audience are becoming more engaged. So the algorithm is always showing them your posts. So it could be partly that. And it could also partly be the algorithm is starting to understand what it is that you are posting about. So is understanding who to show your posts to more quickly, because that's part of the equation as well. So the umbrella number of views is really important to keep an eye on. Once you can see that things are heading in the right direction, the next step is, okay, which of my posts are contributing to this number the most? So then you look again at those posts, because those are the ones that you still might want to refine them, but that you're trying to figure out what is it about those posts that mean they are disproportionately contributing to the growing number of views that I am seeing. So it's where the data starts to be helpful, not just kind of like a little dopamine hit, which we all like, let's face it, but we do need it to be helpful as well. Is that helpful?
Yeah, I think I'm just a data nerd, so I really like to understand and get in the weeds, but I think it's it doesn't serve the purpose, which is at the end of the day, is everything trending in the right direction? And I think you're
Is
right
everything
about
trending
that.
in the right direction? And then can you identify what is contributing to that? Now, some of it could be posting frequency. So if your posting frequency is increased, of course, you're going to accumulate more views across a month. But so you need to you've got to weigh these things up and think, okay, this month compared to last month, did I post more? That could be part of it. So, I think that, and then the split between non-followers and followers, it looks to me, and obviously it's difficult to sort of tell exactly, but it does look to me like what you are experiencing is that you've got this real core group of followers who are habitually interacting with your content. The algorithm is recognizing that, so is making sure that when you post something new, that post goes to the top or near to the top of their feed the next time they open the app. And that is good, because if you have a core group of engaged people, that is something when you think, if you sort of thinking, and these are the right people, whatever it is that you are posting that is engaging those people, it's like, okay, well, if I just want to find more of them, maybe that's what I need to be doing more of. This small group of people is interacting with this. These are the kinds of people I want to attract. So let me do more of this.
That makes sense, because this account, as you know, is handicapped by not being allowed to do trial reels.
Yeah.
And so it is really just like you said, the frequency and seeing what is resonating and hopefully getting more people to follow. So thank you. I've been trying to do trial reels for this account with my other account, and I don't know if that messes it up or not, because I can't anyway, but that's a separate question. So thank you. I appreciate it.
But it's trending in the right direction. And, and it's a test and refine process. Like sometimes people get lucky. I really do think that it's luck a lot of the time. I think there was a ton of people out there who are putting out decent content who don't go viral, who just steadily grow. I mean, I see these videos because I'm in my feed, I get served other social media marketers talking about technique and whatever, like technical stuff. And they will post things that are about like the tweaks they've made to the same video. They've posted the same video twice and they've made the most minor tweak. And one has gone like, hundreds of thousands of views and the other one's got 3,000 views, and it's the same video. So sometimes it's like you might just chance upon the right thing the first time you do it. But the likelihood is it's a test and refine process where you figure it out with time. What does my audience respond to? What does my audience like? Can I lean into that more? Alongside your promotional post. I mean, that's not to say you should never do the things that get no traction whatsoever, because you still need to nudge those people to become your readers, of course. So it's that balancing act. Yeah, and how to capture that lightning in a bottle. Well, if you find out, Sandia, let me know. Right. Okay, let me whiz back to the top, because I know that Dufflin has another question for me. Oh, did I get to the bottom of those, actually? Let me just double check. Yes, I did. Okay, let me go back up. Oh, we've got 20 minutes, loads of time.
I had 2 more questions, but I would love for you to answer my burning question from the end.
Yeah, okay, got it. So Dufflin said, do you know, Dufflin, I completely forgot. Let me find the video. I know you emailed it to me and I completely forgot to look at it. Hang on a second. Here it is. Okay. And when I put the notes together, oh, please, internet work. Okay, here we go. That's brilliant, Dufflin, by the way.
Thank you.
I will put the link to the video. Actually, for those of you who are here, in case you want to see it, I'll put the link in the chat. And anyone watching the replay, the link is in the notes, so you know which video Dufflin was talking about. Okay, so question. I posted a recent video that got more than usual views, and you've now boosted it, getting lots of views and likes, but not follows. What are some of the author campaigns you've seen produce more followers? Okay. So let's first of all just take a step back before I get into that, which is the reason I would say the video is funny. I love it. It's very quirky and amusing. I would say that the reason why the video has got views and likes is because it's funny, it's amusing. The reason why it hasn't translated into followers is because when we're trying to attract people to follow us, the kind of content we need is content that makes people go, that's me, or I want to share this with other people, or I feel like this is going to be useful to me. So this is a really great promotional post, but I would say it's not as to sort of grab attention, but I would say it's not as good a post for getting people to follow your account. And then the other thing is, of course, that it doesn't really give us a sense of what the rest of your account is going to be about or what your book is going to be about. So if people came to your account off the back of this, they might go, oh, that's not what I was expecting, so I'm not going to follow. So that was probably what's happened, which is why it's funny and it's quirky and it's fun and it's funny. But that will be why it's not led to lots of people following. So, then what are some of the author campaigns you've seen produce more followers? When I work with clients one-to-one, the things that tend to drive growth of an account tend to actually, how do I say this? They're not about the book. They tend not to be about the book. What they tend to be about is a passion or something that's kind of adjacent to the book that the audience for that book will enjoy, resonate with, appreciate, learn from, rather than being about the book itself. So this is where, when I was saying before about that 75% of your content being sort of useful, entertaining, insightful for your audience, that's the kind of content that will bring you followers. Because the whole point, the way I use Instagram, not everybody uses it in this way, but the way I use Instagram and it works, and it does work, is that you have this kind of funnel structure. You attract people in at the top. You then sort of warm them up and nurture them in the middle. And then you plug your book to them at the bottom. And so you have this mix of these three things going on. and you move people from being complete strangers right at the top of the funnel, coming in going, oh, I kind of like this person. I like this post that they've done. Oh, let me check out their account. Oh, their bio is interesting to me. Let me just quick scroll down their account. Oh, yeah, I like the look of this. I'm going to follow. But they're still strangers. Then you have posts that sort of really engage them, and you're basically you're auditioning for their attention. And then you're just reminding them every now and again, I have a book. This is the kind of book it is. This is what it's about. This is where you can buy it. And the idea being that they make their way through that funnel and ultimately become your reader. Now, the time it takes each person to come through that funnel varies, because you can't control what else is happening off in their life. Have they got a 100 books on their to be read pile already, and they're on a book buying ban? Like, maybe. So you don't know that. Like, are they going on holiday next week, so they're looking for the perfect book to sit by the pool and read? You don't know that. So it's all about making yourself available and constantly just reminding people, constantly auditioning for their attention and reminding people that your book is there. So that's what you need to do. Now, the other thing I would say about account growth, and I can put some examples actually, if I make a note.
That's very examples.
If I put some examples of some client posts where I've seen, seen them get like significant follower growth, sometimes off the back of one or two posts, and then they might go for a little while and their posts are just sort of ticking along nicely, and then they have another spike, and ticking along slightly, and then they have another spike. But I can think of a couple straight off the back where people have done that. I'm just going to make a note of them now. And who was the other one? And what a lot of these people do is, I can't claim this as my own phrase, so I have to credit the person it came from. So there's a book publicist who writes on Substack called Cassie Mans Murray. She has I think it's called Pine State Publicity on her Substack. And she's great. She's very funny. Has a real sort of like energy vibe behind what she does. I actually was trying to interview her for the podcast, and we put a date in the diary, and then she couldn't make it, and she's got some family stuff. So I'm hoping I'll interview her sometime later. And so I had to go and find somebody else and not tell them that they were a replacement, because that would have been terrible, wouldn't it? I didn't actually want you. You're my second choice. But I did.
You're going to have to edit this part out of the podcast of this recording, by the way.
This only goes out to members, so we can keep it between us. It's terrible. Oh my God. Anyway, the person, the replacement, I will also say, was very good. So it's all fine. It all worked out it all worked out in the end. But she says, brand, a really great way for authors to think of brand is as obsession. So brand as obsession. So if you think about things that you are somewhat obsessive about, that you just love, that you would talk about for free anyway, the kinds of, the things that you wish you had, if you don't have people to talk about them with, you wish you had people to talk about it with, and you can design some of your content around that, because nobody writes in a silo. So, or in a vacuum, these things influence the way you write and what you write about. So there may not be an obvious link, but there will be some kind. It may be that you are the link, that you are the bridge between these things. But these things always seep into our writing in some kind of way. So sort of thinking about, and the three examples I've written down here, which I will link to when I put into the notes, two of them certainly fit into that. I know that two of the posts that went viral for these people are their obsessions that they have, and they posted about it. And they posted about it in an engaging way, and it got them, a lot I can't remember. I know one of them I remember was like over 500 new followers off the back of one post. I would have to look up the others. Yeah. So this is it. This is what you need to lean into. The other thing I would say about account growth and campaign, like designing a campaign around growth, is it just does require more content. That's just the name of the game. Like statistically, I think I have got an Instagram post somewhere that broke this down. Something like if you can post more than 10 times a week in a year, so this was done, this study was done by, I think it was Metro Call, who are like a big, I don't even know what you call them. They're a platform that helps people with digital marketing. And they did this big study into Instagram accounts, and they looked at the accounts that were growing fastest. And basically they said that if you post more than 10 times a week to Instagram, that you could see like 70% growth in a year. So, and then obviously the amount of growth you see comes down with each stage, and I will find the Instagram post about the statistics, because I can't remember them off the top of my head. So basically it is a bit of a numbers game, but with the important caveat that the content has to be relevant to the people you want to reach. There's no point in just churning loads of content out, loads of posts out, if they are not going to appeal to your audience. So for example, I wouldn't recommend churning out loads of posts that look like ads. There's no point. They will just get ignored, and it's a lot of effort to go to for basically no return. So you need to sort of be very clear about what are the sort of stories I'm telling, what are the things that I can post about on my account that are going to attract the people who are going to be interested in my book, rather than I'm just going to tell people about my book over and over and over and over again. So you've got to kind of reverse engineer it. You've got to figure out what are the messages, what are the stories that you're going to tell, and then do more of that. Now, of course, the more posts you can find the time to post, the faster you can figure that out. So if you were able to post every day, at the end of at the end of maybe 1 to 3 months, you would probably have, of posting every single day, that's a lot, but you would probably have a very clear picture about what is resonating with your ideal audience, what to do more of, what to do less of. If you don't have the resource, the time, the capacity, the energy, the bandwidth to do that much posting, there is sometimes just a necessity to accept that your account is going to grow more slowly, because that's just the fact. You might get lucky with a post here and there. Hopefully you will get lucky with a post here and there that will give you a boost, but for the most part it's incremental. And I will, like my account, I have not used a proper test and refine model on my account because I haven't got the time. So I've had to just accept that what that means for my content is, where I see some of my peers, not in the book world, but in other like small business social media advice, doing the proper test and refine model for their own account by churning out lots of content to see what works and what doesn't. Their accounts grow faster, and it's just, so even for me, this is reality. I have had to accept slower account growth over the past 2 years because I haven't got the bandwidth, I haven't got the capacity. So for me, it's about identifying, what do I need this to do? I need this to feed my business. I need this to warm up and bring new people to work with, new people who want to work with me. I need this to motivate people to go and sign up for my Substack. So, and my account, the level of my account growth does those things. So I'm happy with it. And is kind of just this adjustment of what is possible with the time I have, rather than what is possible, full stop. Okay.
Thank you.
That's okay. So I will send you, I will link to some examples in the notes so you can see those, the kinds of posts that are kind of like brand as obsession and what that can lead to. Okay, so then Kathleen, oh, I'm so with you on this. Okay, so this is Kathleen's question. When writing the caption for a post, sometimes the space to write in becomes limited to a tiny little box so that you can only see the first few lines rather than the rest. And Kathleen did send me a screenshot, which I could see, Kathleen, and it did make sense to me. Yeah, it just makes it really fiddly and difficult again. So there isn't really a way to stop this happening. I don't know why Instagram sometimes does this. It does it to me as well. And you just find yourself working, trying to sort of like, and sometimes I find that it almost skips as well. So like I'll try and go to one bit in my caption and it'll skip to a different bit. And I'm like, why? This is really annoying. Have you tried, when you've got your cursor in your caption, have you tried long holding and dragging it down? Because sometimes that allows you to move the cursor smoothly through your caption. Have you tried that?
No, I haven't.
So have a go at that. And then you can find the bit that you want to edit, and edit it, rather than, like you say, like trying to scroll and find it and then tap it and then it skips back up.
Skips right to the bottom again.
Oh, so frustrating. Oh, with it skipping down to the bottom with the hashtag menu, hit your space bar, and it might bring you out of the hashtag menu. It's just one of these weird things where if you're at the end of a hashtag, it keeps you in the hashtag menu. If you then just hit your space, and it will just move you along and should get rid of that then. And then the other option, although I don't know how well this will work, is to create your posts on your computer. So because you can now do that. So obviously it depends on where your photos are stored. Obviously, I imagine your photos are on your phone. So you've then got to get your photos from your phone to your computer. AirDrop is an option if my AirDrop doesn't work anymore, which is always fun. So I end up having to email things. I don't know why it doesn't work. It used to work. It works in one direction. It works from my computer to my phone, but won't work from my phone to my computer.
Was that everything going against you at the moment?
That's been going on for a while, to be fair. That's about like about 2 months. I'm just like, really? So I have to now email myself pictures from my phone, or sometimes I'll add them into my Google Drive, and then I can access my Google Drive on my computer and get them from there. But that's also an option, because you can now create posts on the desktop version of Instagram. So if you go to Instagram, if you're not already logged on your computer, log into your Instagram account on your computer, and it's the same thing. You've got the little plus symbol in the circle, and then you get the option, what do you want to create, and then you can type your caption.
That's great to know. I didn't think, because I quite often will copy and paste, write it on my computer, copy and paste it into email, message myself.
Yeah.
But then it's the editing sometimes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So obviously, the fiddly bit of this going this way around is you've got to get your photos from your phone to your computer. But there may be things that you're using that are already on your computer, of course, so that makes it easier. I can't remember how recent that is. I think that's quite recent that you've been able to create posts. Relatively recent. Sandy is nodding. I think it's pretty recent. Certainly, I reckon no more than a year ago, they allowed you to start creating posts on your desktop. It's actually something that I don't use, but I think I should, because I find the scrunchy tiny screen thing really annoying. And I think I need my eyes testing. So I'm like always just going, I can't flipping read it, which again is a really recent thing. So fun times.
That's not just me. That makes me feel a bit better.
I'm the last person in my family. I will be, welcome to midlife. Exactly. Everything. I've got a dicky shoulder again. I had a dicky shoulder a few years ago that was like, the physio was like, this is perimenopause, operation. I had a frozen shoulder and ended up having to have steroid injections in my shoulder. And now this one's gone. It's not a frozen shoulder yet, but it's the same thing. It's just all of the what's it called? The stuff that is it collagen? I don't. It's not. There's, I'm taking all the supplements, all of them. I rattle when I jump. All of the supplements. I've got a dicky shoulder. It's actually gone down today. I had a massive hive under my eye for the last few days, where I don't know what I'm getting an allergic reaction to, but I'm getting an allergic reaction to something. I've had an inflamed gum for about a week, which is gone now, thank God. I've got a partially erupted wisdom tooth, and I think something had got trapped under, like, in the gum, and my whole gum was just burning. I'm just like, I'm done. I'm so over this. Like, come on. Like, what's happening?
Need a spa. You need a spa weekend.
I need a
You
spa,
need,
yeah.
you need, you need men with no shirt and no shoes to just tend to your every need for the next week.
I do. I'm getting my hair cut tomorrow though, so that'll be nice.
Yeah. Pampering. It does sound like you're very run down.
I think so. That's what it is, just overloaded. And my body's going, stop, make it stop. Anyway, enough of my ailments. At least we can laugh about it, eh? Like, I've been stomping around.
Laugh or cry, yeah.
Laugh or cry, exactly. Yeah. Right. Does anybody else want to share their ailments? So I'm not the only one.
I had that same frozen shoulder. They call it bursitis.
Yes.
Yeah. I had that. And I didn't know that it was a menopause symptom yet, because I was in like perimenopause. But they gave me physical therapy exercises, which I did religiously, and it went away.
Yeah. It's horrible though. I mean, this one is now going away. Like, it's okay. I'm having physio and I'm doing my exercises, and I've got lots of like stretches that involve lying on the floor. So that's quite nice. But this one, it was during COVID. So I couldn't get to a physiotherapist. It was in 2020 and I couldn't get anywhere to get treatment. So by the time I managed to get treatment, I literally had, my arm didn't move. Like, it was stuck. Like, it just did not go anywhere. It was like completely stuck. And I used to have to carry it around in the front pocket of a hoodie. Sandy's face. It was so grim. I can't even describe how grim it was. I could sleep for like 45 minutes at a time before the pain woke me up. It was COVID, lockdown. I was working. I had a 5 and a 7-year-old at home, homeschooling, and I couldn't move one of my arms. I was like, this is not fun. Like, this is awful. And my husband had to help me get dressed and undressed every day because I couldn't move my arm. It was so bad. So I ended up having steroid injections in this one, and it did sort it out. Yeah.
Kind of amazing, like how much we as women will not realize that we're being boiled. You know, the frog in the water sort of analogy, where just the temperature keeps on cranking up and we're just, oh, got it. I will shoulder on until your shoulder breaks. But like, it's really kind of amazing how much we do.
I know.
Just wanted to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
And it's this stuff that is so invisible, not to us. Like, we see it, we see one another, we see it, but like, it just doesn't get acknowledged. It doesn't get talked about. It's sort of just like, but you're supposed to, so you're not allowed to not even complain, like, just even identify, like, name it. Just say, I'm doing a lot, guys. Like, even that you're not supposed to do. Yeah, very annoying. What are you showing me? I can't read it.
It's a really good song called Labor by Cacophony. I highly recommend it. It's
Labor.
Such a good Labor, Labour, the English spelling, by the Cacophony. It's on Spotify, but my daughter and I kind of listen to it on mornings, and it's one of those songs where it's like all day, every day. You make me do too much labor. And it's such a good
It's
song.
not that one that's like all day, every day.
Yes,
There is
that's the one.
Mother Maid.
Yes.
Yeah, I know the
Yep.
one. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. That's like the mantra, right?
It's
That we
like
all have to live
an
with.
absolute anthem. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I have one quick thing. I know we're over time. I have one really quick thing
Yeah.
to share just in the space of this safe space community. Oh, are you still recording? Shoot.
Do you want me to stop? I'm going
If
to
you
stop
don't mind.
recording now, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.